All right, welcome, welcome. We back again, once again, time and time again, my friends, and we got another live stream and just a quick update over the market, where it potentially has ended throughout this week and potential moves and directions the market may head coming up in the next few trading days. That's all we do over here is talk about everything pretty much trading. So make sure you are subscribed with the post notifications turned on. That way you get a little notification whenever I do a live stream like this here, or whenever I post educational content on my channel. You will be notified so you don't miss out. With all that said, let's get right to it. So XAU USD from the monthly time frame, you can see that last month it closed bullish, a very strong bullish engulfing candle, taking up 3 of the bearish candles in 1 bullish candle, and we look like we want to continue to the upside. We have pretty good areas to target as where the market may head to in the near future. If we do drop down to the weekly, you can see we have the most common pattern here, also with a pattern that completes 80 to 90% of the time. So we had a move to the downside, move back up, move back down, double bottom, not breaking below, and then we came up, retested the neckline, use it as previous structure resistance, now turn support, and we've completed the most common pattern in the market, which is just a simple impulse breaking above some structure, coming back for a retracement at previous structure, and continuing the trend, in this case, in this example, to make a higher high. So that is pretty nice. We could expect more continuation to the upside as everything is pointing to the upside and being bullish. On the daily time frame, you can see we have a nice explosive move above this previous structure. We do have the retracement on this day right here. If we do get a little more retracement candles and the proper setup for a continuation to the upside, I will be looking to take that. Now we have XAG USD pushing to the upside as well. We can just expect more continuation. On the weekly, we've now broke and closed above structure. Well, in the next hour, we will have broke and closed above this structure, and that could mean more bullishness on this market. And if we do look at the daily time frame, you can see the most common pattern in the market is starting to display itself. So we have a TMCP with the impulse to the upside. If we do get some sort of retracement down in this area, we could look for the explosion to the upside. XBT USD monthly time frame exploding to the upside above a lot of monthly structure. So we are technically bullish as we are making higher highs now on this market. We do have a little retracement starting this month. Of course, we're only a couple days into the month. It's not going to end the way that it is. That candle, the monthly candle, is not going to close the way that it is right now, as we still have 29 more days for the market to go ahead and create that candle. But if we do drop down to the weekly time frame, you can see we're starting to have the most common pattern once again, push to the upside, come back, retest previous structure as resistance, now using it as support. You want to see the continuation to the upside. And if we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see that we did come and retest some of these highs, but we've then been rejected, coming back and retesting previous structure. From here, we still do have an impulse, but it is a little bit of a higher risk since we've already been rejected from these highs once. And then we do have a kind of strong bearish candle pushing to the downside, but that does not mean that it's going to continue to the downside just off this one candle. If we do start to see some consolidation and the market change over, the momentum change, and look for or get a move to the upside, we could then look for more buys on this market. Now we can drop down to US oil on the monthly time frame pushing to the downside. We did have previous structure resistance over in here that acted as support at once and twice, but got rejected from this level as it is a very strong move to the downside. And from there, we broke and closed below the structure, came back for the retracement currently, and we can look for more continuation to the downside just from a monthly perspective. If we do look at the weekly, you can see everything that we've talked about in previous streams is playing out to a T. After we get the close below this area, I wanted to see a nice retracement coming back into this area, previous structure support right around in here, and then we can look for a continuation to the downside, but that is the weekly time frame. And then if we do drop down to the daily time frame, you can see we've had pretty aggressive sell-off pushing to the downside pretty aggressively, come back for a retracement pushing to the downside one more time, came back to retest previous structure resistance Well, over in here, it was support, then it was resistance, acting as resistance once again. On this day, pushing to the downside just a hair. There may be an opportunity to go ahead and continue to the downside, but there are several levels of structure just from a daily time frame perspective that we would like to see cleared, or I would like to see cleared first before I start to look for possible moves to the downside for the continuation. Euro USD, now hopping into the Forex market. Euro USD on the monthly time frame is still in this area of previous structure support that should act as resistance until it is broken and closed above, and then it will act as support. But since we are moving to the upside with a very aggressive monthly candle last month, and then this month starting out strong as well, more continuation to the upside could be expected. And if we do look at the weekly time frame, you can see that we did have areas right in here that we wanted to see the market at least come back down and retest and then break out above, closing above these areas. We did get the close above, or will get the close above, in about 55 minutes. And then as well, on the daily time frame, you can see we had a very strong push to the upside, closing above the areas where we could expect more continuation on this. Now that we are impulsing to the upside, the most common pattern in the market is we did have the left shoulder here, we had the head, and then we had the right shoulder, which did not break and close below the left shoulder. And from there, we expect the market to continue trend, as this is just a nice and easy impulse to the upside, come back, retest previous structure, and then continue to the upside to continue the trend of the market, which is bullish, creating higher highs and higher lows. Now that we've made the impulse to the upside, once this impulse completes itself, if it comes back for a nice and easy retracement and gives us the opportunity to take the long, I will be looking for it. Now we can go over GBP USD monthly time frame, and we're starting to break above some of the monthly structure that we had right around in this area, starting to look quite bullish coming out from these lows down in here. Now if we do look at the weekly time frame, you can see we are very aggressively pushing to the upside where more continuation could be expected. We did get the retest of this area exactly as we wanted to see from a weekly time frame perspective, as highlighted in previous streams. And then on the daily time frame, you can see this in a lot more detail, almost perfect, exactly how we drew it up. Wanted to see the move to the upside, breaking above the structure, come back for a retest, retesting previous structure resistance over on this side, using it as support and continuing to the upside to create a higher high, completing the most common pattern in the market, also known as a TMCP. After this impulse completes itself, if it provides a nice and easy retracement for more continuation to the upside, I will be looking for that. Now we have AUD USD, which is kind of around the same area, as these are correlated pairs. They're either positively or negatively correlated, meaning they're either going to look exactly the same or look opposite of each other. But this right in here, the market is starting to come into this previous structure support that should act as resistance until broken and closed above, but we do have 29 days before this candle closes. Even though we are very aggressively pushing to the upside, we can look down on the weekly time frame and see that we are right at previous structure support that should act as resistance on the weekly time frame, completing the TMCP. So the most common pattern in the market, once again, completed itself, moved to the upside, come back for a retracement, continue the trend, creating a higher high. Once that higher high is created, the pattern is completed. It happens over and over and over on all time frames, majority of the time. Now if we look at the daily time frame, you can see we did have a kind of complex move to the upside. We did have a little pause here, broke, then we came back, retested these lows, came up to these highs. We did not retest the lows or come down in these lows, and then once again making moves to the upside. We have broken and closed above this area, so we could expect there to be some sort of retracement down in here for more continuation to the upside. USD CAD pushing to the upside very aggressively, very bullish on the monthly time frame as well. Last month did come down and retest previous structure resistance that should act as support, and we saw the rejection push to the upside. And starting this month, even though this candle will not close exactly how it is 28 days and 1 hour from now, but it is starting to make moves to the upside, looking as if it wants to continue the trend. Then if we do look at this candle here on the weekly time frame, we can see that we have this candle where we want to see the next ones fill in the wick, at least come retest these highs, which could provide the momentum to go ahead and see this market push to the upside and continue the trend. Now, we did have an M formation on this market, move to the upside, break back down, come back, retest the neckline to the T. That is another pattern that completes 80 to 90% of the time. If you want to learn how to take advantage of these patterns with a very profitable and successful trading strategy, go ahead and click the link in the description. It'll take you right over to my page where you will get full access to my trading strategies, more than one, more than two. There's multiple for day trading and a few for swing trading that I think is really nice and really helpful for all stages of your trading, whether you're intermediate or very advanced. It could give you some eye-opening information in that course. Excuse me, I think it is very valuable. Now with the next candles we want to see fill in the wick, if we drop down to the daily time frame, we'll see this in a little more detail, as that we do have a nice and easy impulse to the upside, come back, retest previous structure resistance as support, explode to the upside, creating the most common pattern in the market. After that, we came back, retest previous structure, and it looks like we want to continue to the upside once again. I could be putting this on the potential watch list for Sunday, Monday, as it is setting up nicely for a continuation to the upside on this market. Now we can go over NZD USD from the monthly time frame. Last month we successfully closed above this previous structure support that was supposed to act as resistance. Now that it is broken and closed above, it should act as support. We are starting to push to the upside a little more on the monthly as well, so we are looking for more continuation to the upside on this market in the near future. If we look at the weekly time frame though, on the weekly we have a very aggressive move to the downside, we have some consolidation, and then we have a very aggressive move back up, covering all this area of the move down. But we know we can't expect the market to move in one direction forever. It would be very ideal if the market did come down and retest some of this previous structure, that once it was below, it stayed below, and now that it is above, it should stay above this area. But if we do drop down to the daily time frame, we can see that we are completing the most common pattern in the market once again. I'm trying to tell you, this happens over and over and over and over on all time frames. More than not, this is a pattern that happens all day, every day on all time frames. But now we've completed this impulse, or completed this pattern of creating a higher high. There should be some sort of retracement before we're looking for the next buy on this market, but I am still bullish on NZD USD. USD CHF on the monthly time frame, you can see that we are very aggressively pushing to the downside on USD CHF, as we do have this area right in here, which could act as a left shoulder. We do have a head here, and then we have the market coming down, retesting these previous lows, where some sort of retracement is expected because the market cannot move in one direction forever. So this would be a likely place the market could come to before continuing the trend to the downside, but that is from a monthly perspective. So we have a while before that could possibly be true. Now, if we do look at the weekly time frame, on the weekly, we are still caught at this weekly support. So it's not for certain that the market wants to continue to the downside until it breaks these lows, which it has tested before. But if it does go ahead and create some sort of move, closing and breaking below these levels, coming back for a retest, that would be a very nice play for a weekly TMCP to the downside. Now we can look at the daily time frame and see, once again, we've been in this area a few times and we've been rejected. Let's see. Once we were in this area coming from underneath it, rejected to the downside. Once we were in this area coming from above it, rejected to the upside. Once again, rejected to the upside. Once again, rejected to the upside. And then you can see that we are playing around right in this level once again. So you do not want to sell into support. It would be ideal if this market did go ahead and complete an impulse to the downside, breaking and closing with some conviction, then coming back for this area for a retest for more continuation to the downside. Now we can look at USD JPY, and on USD JPY, we did have a level in the market that we wanted to see the market hold as support for more continuation to the upside from a monthly time frame perspective, but we are pushing to the downside quite aggressively. Once again, these pairs are correlated rather positively or negatively. They will be showing almost some of the same things or the opposite, just simple market structure and learning how pairs are correlated. So we are starting to break below some of this monthly structure where this could end up acting as a left shoulder head, and then we could see this area act as a right shoulder if we do go ahead and get a retest of this area for more continuation to the downside. But once again, that's the monthly time frame. It should take some time for that to develop. But if we do drop down to the weekly time frame, you can see that we last identified this market as wanting to see a push to the downside, retest this area, and then continue to the downside. So if we take a look at the daily time frame, you can see that we've just started to, we didn't really retest, come back and retest, but now that we've made a move to the downside, impulse to the downside, if there is some sort of retracement that gives us the proper setup following the rules of the strategies, there could be an opportunity for more continuation to the downside, as that is where this market looks as if it is going to be headed. Now that is it for the Forex market and the majors. We can go over BTC USD once again on this market from the monthly time frame perspective. We are bearish on the monthly time frame as we've broken below several levels of structure, continuing to create lower lows and lower highs. So more moves to the downside could be expected just from simple market structure. And if we do look at the weekly time frame, you can see we have a very strong impulse to the downside. It looks as if we're starting some sort of retracement, and if this retracement comes into some of these levels, key levels, and shows signs of moving to the downside or selling off bearishness, we could expect more continuation to the downside on this market. But if we take a look at the daily time frame for some immediate moves, we can see that yes, we are starting to consolidate right in this area. So we can see that we've had resistance right around in here and support right around in here. A breakout to either side could trigger the market to continue in that direction. So until we start to break above some structure on the daily time frame, create some more structure, and then break it, creating higher highs and higher lows, I wouldn't look to buy this market just yet. You could do some day trading on this if you drop down to the lower time frames and possibly find some bullish setups to come retest some of these levels. But as it is right now, if you are not already in short with your stops at break even, there's no real opportunities that give us a high probability or would give you a high probability a successful trade happening. So it's best to go ahead and look for the breakouts in either direction, just to be safe. So that is pretty much it, unless anybody has any other pairs, or unless anybody has anything else they would like me to discuss. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here and let you enjoy your weekend. So I appreciate it. LaRonda Celeste Morton, thank you for viewing the stream. And if you viewed this stream, I appreciate anyone that stayed this long. Once again, I do live streams from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the times in between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've not missed a day yet. Go ahead and drop me a thumbs up for the consistency, and I will be sure to see you all in another video. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the shares. I appreciate the likes, and I also appreciate the comments and the chats as well. I just want to create a nice and easy place for us to hang out, chill, talk about the markets and everything Forex and trading just in general. Once again, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. If you have any pairs you'd like for me to look at, go ahead and ask them in the chat as well. But it doesn't look like too many people have anything to say. So with that said, I hope everyone has had a profitable week on and off the charts. And until next time.